Yeah, doggy. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Daily Dose Show. I'm your host, Alize, and this is the sniffles, because I got the sniffles. I'm your host, Alize, and this is the Daily Dose where you already know we stay doing the most. So I am a little sick. It's a little bit, I think it's my allergies or whatever the case may be, but I'm probably gonna be sniffing in this video, sniffling a lot. So not sniffing, but sniffling a lot in this video. So I just want to let y'all know that before we get started. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and just jump right into the video. I want to talk about, the title of this video is Stop Avoiding These Three Things. The reason I'm sharing this with y'all, before I even jump into it, the reason I'm sharing this with y'all is this is something that I'm going through actively at this moment, because these are three things. Gangbang. These are three things that I have been avoiding, and it's been brought to my attention that I need to start. I need to stop avoiding these things, actually, because of this book, Shadow Work Journal. Because of my journal, I actually was able to dive deep into what I'm avoiding in my life. So the three things is going to be, before we even get into the video, I'm first going to tell you the three things of what it is. Then I'm going to tell you why it's important. Then I'm going to let you know my own personal experiences. Okay, so first, the three things that you should stop avoiding is: one is being alone, two is change, and three is how you feel. Now, the reason these things are important is because in order to grow and in order to become the best version of ourselves, we have to understand that there has to be a time in our lives where we must have a self-love journey. Everyone has to go through a self-love journey. Everyone has to go through a journey of being by themselves. Okay? And being by yourself, not even just that, being by yourself, and this is all gonna go together. So stay with me. Being by yourself is very important when it comes to change, and when it also comes to how you feel. Okay? And now the reason I want to say that is because from my personal experiences, I have struggled with being by myself, being alone. When I was much younger, I am still young, I'm 27, but when I was much younger, my adolescence, I used to always jump from relationship to relationship. Like, I wanted to, feel the comfort, feel the love, feel the, get the attention and, all that from another individual, because I didn't have it when I was younger, right? So because I would do that, I was avoiding that part of myself of being alone. I was avoiding loving me. I was avoiding putting me first. And now at the age that I am now, I've become aware that I have avoided being alone because I don't like to be alone. Now, this is something that I'm willing to admit, because when you're able to admit these things, that's when you're able to change it. You follow me? When you become aware of the things that you do, you are then able to change it. If you aren't aware, you're just going to live in denial. Psychology 101. And you're not going to be able to change it. So I want to share with y'all something briefly, real quick. I avoid change, maybe because I fear what will happen. Will I lose people? How will my life turn out to be if I just decided to actually change my old ways and old habits? Putting Alize first and really loving me. Trusting me and taking a chance on myself. I feel guilt. I feel like if I'm not there for others and I decide to shut the world out and just focus on me, I'm leaving them behind and being selfish. Avoiding self-love, thinking that I need someone to make me whole, scared of being alone. Maybe that's why I keep around the people in my circle the way I do, because I fear being alone. I avoid it. It's time to make a change. And this is basically avoidance for your shadow work journal. Motivation moves you forward, but what are you moving away from? What do you try your best to avoid in life? And are there certain emotions attached to these things that you don't want to experience? So now, the reason you should be alone is we need time to grow. We need time to understand ourselves. We need time to understand who we truly are. We need time to do shadow work. You know what I'm saying? Being able to discover all parts of who we are and accept who we are and show self and give ourselves compassion, self-compassion. You know what I'm saying? And rather than judging ourselves, but also taking time to realize that, you know what, it's okay to be alone. Just because you're alone, it doesn't mean that you're lonely. Just because you're alone, it doesn't mean that you're not loved. It doesn't mean that you're not being cared for. It doesn't mean that, you're not accepted. We need time to ourselves in order to really understand who we are, in order to get to that next level in our lives. So I'm not saying anything's wrong with being in a relationship. It's okay to be in a relationship. But the thing is, what I've realized, the mistakes that I've realized, and the reason I don't like to be alone is because I fear not being wanted. I fear not being needed, right? And I'm pretty sure there's people out there that feel the same way. But what matters is you needing you wanting you accepting you understanding that at the end of the day, no one is going to love you the way you love you. No one is going to understand you the way you understand you. No one is going to push you the way you're going to push yourself. At the end, we came into this world alone. We were born into this world by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And when I think of when I think of, damn, my past relationships and the people that I dealt with, I put up with so much shit because I feared being by myself, because I wasn't comfortable with myself. I didn't understand myself. I wasn't understanding who I was. I wasn't understanding my emotions. It was causing me to go into this like, not psychosis. It was causing me to go into this confusion because I didn't understand me. And one thing I did realize was I also wasn't valuing myself because I was allowing so many people into my life. And even still, I'm working on, cutting the cords. We're always growing. We're always, as well as I'm telling you guys this, I'm telling myself. Being alone, you master your emotions. Okay? You master self-discovery. Most important, you master self-improvement. Because you start to discover things about yourself that you never knew. You start to realize that you have gifts that were given to you by the higher source that you never decided to actually put out there for the world to see. You start to really see a side of you that you never thought that you would even see. And sometimes it gets uncomfortable because you start to get within your thoughts. And it's okay. That's why it's okay to start, when you're feeling a certain type of way, it's okay to feel the feelings that you feel. We avoid how we feel, just like we avoid our thoughts. If you're feeling a certain way, or if you're thinking a certain type of way, like, for example, I have suicidal thoughts sometimes. When I have my depressive episodes, when I go through my depression, I have suicidal thoughts. I used to avoid those thoughts. Now I'm aware of them and I'm saying, okay, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling suicidal. So then I start to ask myself, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? What is causing me to feel this way? I need to reflect. I need to self-reflect. I need to go back into what is making me feel these things. Why am I feeling this way? And at the end of the day, I instead of telling myself that I am depression, because I'm not depression, I feel like I'm depressed. I feel depressed. But why am I feeling depressed? What did I not do today? What are things that are happening in my life right as we speak to make me feel the things that I'm feeling? Why am I feeling sad? We think that sadness is a negative emotion. We think that anger is a negative emotion. When we acknowledge and become aware of how we feel, when we start to become aware of those things, we start to actually enter another world of what I like to call it, entering another world of being able to actually, well, not being able to actually see, but being able to actually understand our emotions. You know what I'm saying? If you guys have rocked with me since my last YouTube videos, you'll see that I put out Emotional Advantage. It was a book called Emotional Advantage. I didn't put the book out, but the book, I was reading a book called Emotional Advantage and how to actually take a hold, being able to take a hold of your emotions, being able to actually understand your emotions, bring them to the surface, and actually be able to work through them and allow yourself to feel them. Because a lot of us are told that these are negative emotions that we're not supposed to feel. We're supposed to just sweep under the rug, when these are things that you should stop avoiding. You don't want to avoid how you feel. Because I was just watching a YouTube video. I love him, Leo Skeppy. I love him so much. He was saying, like, he gave an example of saying, like, when people, it's like a person, like when you're boo-hoo-hooing and you're crying and you're on the couch and someone walks in and just ignores you. You have to actually see that as you doing the same thing to yourself. Would you really want someone to ignore how you feel, ignore your emotions? And the thing that this is the thing, we attract who we are. If you're avoiding yourself and avoiding your emotions, and if you're not acknowledging how you feel, then you're going to attract the same thing that you don't want. You're going to attract people who don't acknowledge how you feel, people who don't care about what you're going through, people who are going to just pretend that you don't exist and walk past you like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even make sense to them. And this is, you know what I'm saying? Not that it doesn't make sense to them, but like more so like they don't give a fuck. So let's be honest, let's be real here. So it's important to really acknowledge how we feel and to check in with ourselves. I check in with myself all the time. I say, Alizé, how are you doing today? I might not be feeling my best. I might be feeling a certain type of way, but at least I'm checking in with myself to actually, you know, if I am feeling sad or if I am feeling this way, what can I do? I ask myself, why am I feeling this way first? And then I allow myself to feel this way. And then I ask myself, okay, what can I do? What alternatives can I turn to in order to make myself feel better? Because now that I've acknowledged how I feel, now I can allow myself to feel this pain. Now I can allow myself to feel the way that I feel. But I'm not saying to dwell in it. You never want to dwell in how you're feeling. You never want to dwell in anger. You never want to dwell in sadness. You never want to dwell in depression. Take it from someone who literally went months and months without posting videos because I was so fucking depressed. Literally, like when I tell you, when I get depressed, I literally just, the only thing that just matters to me is food. Nothing else matters to me, you know? And these are things that I'm telling you guys because I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes that I make. And these are things that I'm working on as we speak. Because as well as I'm telling you this, I'm telling myself. So this just isn't, you know what I'm saying? This is me taking a walk with you guys through life. Because I know that all of us, you know, at the end of the day, we're all going through something. And sometimes we don't want advice. Sometimes it's not about giving someone advice or what they should and should do or should not do. It's about listening. Sometimes we just want someone to listen. You know what I'm saying? And I want to also jump into change. Change. Why do I avoid change? I avoid change because I'm scared to actually I'm scared to actually see how would it be if I did change these ways, right? What type of person would I become? See, humans fear the unknown. We all fear the unknown because we don't know what's out there, just like the ocean. Now, you know, there's a lot of people out there that surfing and doing their thing in the ocean, but then you have other people that are skeptical because they don't know what's out there. Let's be honest, none of us know what's out in the ocean. Only 10% of our ocean has been discovered. That's the unknown. So it's the same thing with life. It's the same thing. Sometimes we fear change because actually deep down inside, we don't want to change because we get used to a certain way of how we've done things. Old habits, old patterns. We get so used to it to where it's like, oh, you know what? This is the norm. I'm gonna just keep doing it. And sometimes we just don't give a damn. Let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I fear the fact of leaving people behind or feeling like I'm not doing my job if I just decide to just shut the whole world out, focus on myself, become selfish, and literally just say, you know what? I don't have time for your problems. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. The only thing I have time for is myself. That is the most scariest thing to me. But let me tell you this. Change is supposed to be scary. Change is supposed to be uncomfortable. Change is not meant to be comfortable. We are not meant to be in a comfortable position. We are meant to put ourselves in uncomfortable positions. Why? Because in order to become successful, you must change. If you are not willing to change, you will not become successful. You have to put yourself out there. You have to do something that you've never done before in order to get to where you actually want to be. Yes, people are going to make fun of you. My boss even told me, like, Alizé, you can't be so sensitive. This world is going to chew you up and spit you out. Because let me tell you guys something. No one gives a damn whether you were homeless, what you went through in your life. The world does not care. People do not care. So when you go out there, when you're thinking, you know what? I just might get embarrassed. People might just laugh at me, but that's okay. Those people laugh at you because they're not willing to do something that you're willing to do. They're not willing. They're comfortable. They're comfortable. They're comfortable where they're at. They're comfortable in that seat. That's why they don't want to move from it. And the reason I stress it so much is because it's the same thing with myself. I have to tell myself, Alizé, you got to be willing to be uncomfortable. You got to be willing to change. You got to be willing to do things differently. I can't continue to do the same thing as I was doing yesterday because I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to get to where I want to be. And when I tell myself, if I tell myself in the time when I say this is, when I make a decision, I have to be decisive about that decision and I have to stand within it. You know what I'm saying? So these are like the most important things to stop avoiding, because in my personal experiences, I avoided so much when it came to change because deep down inside, I didn't want to change. I didn't feel I had to change. There were certain people I didn't want to get rid of. There were certain people I wanted to keep in my life. There were certain things that I kept doing because I was so used to it. But now I have to understand that this is not going to get me anywhere in my life. This is not going to get me to the next level. There's things that I want, and if I want those things, then I need to start making them happen, and I need to take those necessary steps to make it happen. Rather than telling myself this is what I'm going to do and then continue to do the same old shit over and over again. And even if you do fuck up, tell yourself, you know what? I did fuck up. I messed up. Yes, you did mess up. It's okay. It's okay. It's totally fine. And I'm not saying now, hold on. Don't get used to saying like, you know what? It's okay. I could still do this again. No, tell yourself, beat yourself up a little bit and say, you know what? You effed up. This is what you need to do better. What can we do to do better? What's the next steps that we can take? But don't criticize yourself. Don't call yourself stupid and all those other things. But give yourself constructive criticism, constructive feedback. Let yourself know what it is that you did and say, you know what, this is what we can do better. Now, I feel like a lot of these things these are the number one three things that people avoid. And I feel like we avoid it because, a lot of us, we could be, some of us don't realize that we avoid these things because we feel like, when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to being alone, when it comes to change, when it comes to knowing how you feel, all of these things is helping you to self-improve. All of these things is actually helping you to know who you are. Other people don't have to tell you who you are. See, we rely on other people's thoughts and opinions of us, but we don't rely on our own thoughts and opinions of ourselves and how we see ourselves. People could say things like, okay, Alizé has herpes. That's a fact. Yes, I do have herpes. That is a fact. And you know what? People can make fun of me, can say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, okay, I've already said that. I've already stated this is what I have. This is what it is. There's nothing you can do to hurt my feelings. Understanding, okay, Alizé, she has mood swings. Alizé gets easily angered. These are things that I know about myself. I can be very manipulative when it comes to my emotions. Emotionally, I can manipulate people. Yes. Oh, excuse me. Let me see. Let's go back into the book. If we really want to, let's do it. Let's do it. You feel me? Let's do it. You feel me? Hold on. Let me see. What else we gonna go to? What else we gonna? Oh. Feels left out, fears being left, hates being alone, codependent, normally attracts emotionally unavailable people, feels sorry or bad, doesn't like to ask things, is afraid to set boundaries, attracts people who make them feel guilty, is afraid to be hurt, doesn't trust themselves, find ways to not trust people. The list goes on and on. Low self-worth. All of these things are things that I know about me. So when you go out into the world and other people try to tell you who you are and say, oh, this is how you are, you say, you know what? These are things I know. I already know this about myself. I'm already self-aware of these things. So what you're telling me isn't even news to me, baby. This is something I already know. And that's why it's important to really validate our emotions, validate how we feel, understand our thoughts, have the opinion of ourselves. I'm not saying be a fucking asshole and go out here and if a person gives you a compliment, be like, I know, of course I'm sexy, thank you. I appreciate it. Like, I'm not saying go out there and be, arrogant, but what I am saying is, like in the society that we live in, we rely on other people's thoughts and opinions of us, and we shouldn't. That's why I do shadow work, because shadow work is a way to really uncover all aspects of who you are, and even the good and the bad, but still accept these things about yourself, still accept these things of who you are, but also be able to change them at the same time. And while you're working through that and you're changing those things about you and becoming, that's why it's important to be alone. That's why it's important to change. Being alone is going to cause you to want to change. Change is going to cause you to understand who you are, how you feel. It all comes together. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the things that I experienced in my life, I never really looked back and gave myself like a pat on the back. Because the things I experienced in my life, I could have really ended my life years ago. I really could have. Anything could have happened to me. I've made so many mistakes. I've done so much. And now I was given a second chance to redeem myself and to do better. Every day I wake up and I look and I'm like, damn, I'm in such a better position that now I know this is my stepping stone to get to where I want to be with myself and do more for me. You know what I'm saying? And I want to end on this note. I want to let you guys know that the self-love journey isn't for the weak. Change is not for the weak. Shadow work is not for the weak. So if you're not ready, then don't start. Because the ones that are ready, they're already in class. They're up and they're paying attention.